So now we're going to create equations, write equations for a particular type of line. And a parallel line simply means that your slopes are the same between the two lines. So if you look at this equation, in this equation, they're different equations except that the number in front of x or the slope are exactly the same. We have a 2 and a 2 because the lines are parallel. So we're going to deal with those as well as perpendicular. Perpendicular lines are lines that cross, but their slopes are what's called opposite inverses. So if you look at this slope of this equation, it's a 3, and this slope is the inverse, which is 1 over 3, but it's also a negative. So perpendicular lines have opposite slopes, where parallel lines have exactly the same. So what we have to do is look at our equation, write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through a point, but we want it perpendicular. So what we're going to do is go ahead and figure out the slope of our new equation. So our slope, we have a negative 3 halves. So what we have to do is perpendicular means flip it. So now it becomes 2/3. Because it's negative, it's going to be positive. So our new equation is going to have this slope. Now they give us a point, so I'm going to use the point slope form. So y minus a negative 6 equals 2/3, and it's x minus 5. Now, in our last example, our last section, and I'm going to clean this up, we were done. But in this particular case, it tells us we want it in slope-intercept form. So we want it in the y equals mx form plus b, y by itself. So to do that, I have to remove this fraction as well as this 6. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply through the fraction here. And when I multiply through, that's going to give me y plus 6 equals 2/3 x minus 10/3. But now I'm going to subtract my 6 from both sides to get rid of the y. And so y will end up as 2/3 x. And when I subtract 6, that will end up being, let me see, over 5 minus 40 over 5. Which will reduce to minus 8. And there's our new equation. So in this particular problem, we're still going to write an equation, but now we're going to write one for a parallel line, slope-intercept form, and they give us a point, and so we have to figure out the slope with our old equation. So the new slope is going to be exactly the same because we want parallel. Now I can go ahead and fill in the blanks. So I'm going to do my point slope. Y minus 7 equals 3/4. And x minus 3. And now I just have to turn it into slope-intercept. So I'm going to multiply through. So y minus 7 equals 3/4 x minus 9/4. And then all I have to do is add the 7 to both sides. And so y will equal, and when I do 3/4 x and I add 7, that will be, change this to 28 over 4. I would get 19 over 4. And that can't be reduced any further, so we'll leave it, and so there's our equation.